Okay, what are we working on?
We're on a wheel. My wheel.
Your wheel. I don't know, it looks pretty close. What do you think?
Just about.
Maybe a little off.
It's right there.
Check out the straightedge up the wall there.
It only needs a little.
Just give or take an inch. I think it's almost factory spec. Okay, we noticed there were some tight and loose spokes in the area. You're supposed to do that so I can know it.
Alright.
Where's those loose ones that we had?
That sounds loose. That sounds tighter. That one's loose for sure. That's pretty tight.
That's a good one. Not so good.
That's loose. That's loose.
It's pretty true. Pretty close. Okay, so we need to go which way?
Yeah.
So these need to be loosened. That needs to be tightened. Now we were over here. Well, in this area we found that loose one.
That's loose, yeah.
Is that the loose one we have?
That's the loose one for sure. That one's better.
So these two are tight, this one's loose. We need to go that way. Let's see right here. We're close. See right here? So this is tight, loose, tight. So right here, this is our loose one. See right here, we're about in the right spot, but everywhere else we're way off. See, we're right in the middle. So this is about the correct area. It definitely seems to be a little loose. Well, I'm shocked these actually do move. That's a good sign. Okay, so now it's getting worse because I tighten up those loose ones. So probably intentionally these. Oh, they kind of move. Okay. This is in the way. How'd they get so far in the way? Must have fell. Okay, so go to worse first. So is that worse or this is worse?
That's worse.
That's worse.
Right there?
Or that's worse.
Or
Should be about equal. You need to go this way. So that appears to be tight. That appears to be sort of tight. Yeah, so. So we're going to start right about here. I'm going to see if this one moves. No. I don't know if that's twisting off or moving, but appears to be used. This one appears to be loose. What about that one? Is that factory torque?
oh, it's a little on the loose side.
About that one.
A little loose.
Okay, so see our gap now? So it's a little closer now, more even.
Yeah.
So now we go back to the bad spot down here. Oh, that looks not too good down there. What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely not
Not as good?
not as good.
So starting about here, see, that's about where.
Yeah.
Figure out
right
where, we got to figure out where the middle is at. So if you go to center point, which is right here, is our worst spot. That's the offending area right through here. Then you go about that far this way and about that far that way. So let's go to about to where the valve stem is, or a little past. We want to come this way, so we tighten these sides up. It appears to be tight already. This one appears to not be tight. How about that one? Does that appear to be
there.
tight?
It's pretty loose.
That's loose too? How about this one?
Pretty loose.
That one's loose too? How about this one?
Loose.
we stop there. Okay, so now, see how much better it was now?
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Okay, now we do the same thing again. So, see about right here it starts getting a little sideways.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's spend a little more torque on these ones. So now I'm only torquing one at a time now.
Yeah. It's getting closer so you don't have to.
Well, you just gotta go like that. See, now I'm going this way. See, now I'm getting tight. So it's got to go the other way now. So now we tighten the other side. That one's tight or rusty. So if you're tight, obviously that's not
That's
tight.
not tight.
That one's sort of tight, but not really. This one just seems to be just overall tight.
It's gummed up.
Might be rust.
Oh man.
Which one? Can I ever find that spoke that I need to play with now? Man, it's moved. How do I know which one it was? Which one was it?
The loose one, or the one that was
The one that didn't want
that didn't want to move.
like
Yeah.
that one? I mean, you could have helped me out by spraying it like a week ago. Now make sure you let the air out of the tires so when you turn the spoke it doesn't rip the tube off.
Mm.
That's why I let the air out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It makes sense now that I told you?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, that appears to be a little freer than it used to be. I'm going to put a little tension on it. Oh, see now we got too much. See now we went too far. See what happened?
Oh, so now it's the other way.
So I got carried away. Okay, so now we need to go. Okay, now we're back too close against. Start going the other side again. That one appears to be tight also. A little closer.
Yeah, it's a lot closer.
Now I gotta figure which bad again. Close here, gets further away here. Gets closer right here. So I think the close is the problem, not the far part. It's only close right here. This is pretty equal for over half. So this is the bad spot. So it needs to go that way. So that means these are too tight, and those are too loose. So let's see what we got to play with here. Those appear to be relatively tight. So I'm going to do those one. Okay, see how it looks pretty close now, just by doing by hand.
Yeah.
So now you're done. You can ride it now. You can go more than 20 miles an hour now. How was that at freeway speed?
Oh, you know. A little wobbly.
A little wobbly. Okay, now we want to see how much up and down we got. Didn't look too bad. See, up and down you got to tighten. You got to loosen this side and move this up, or you got to tighten this up and loosen this one through up and down. You got to do them in big groups. When you go side to side, you can do more or less one or two at a time. Alright, so we got a roughed end pretty close. Okay, now we got to figure out what we really want to do. So what do you want to do? You want this on center or off center? What are you looking for?
Probably on center.
Beyond center? Okay, so if you come off of here, looks like I got about a finger. Go to the other side over here. Looks like we got a little bit less than a finger. Pretty close. No, but it looks a little closer on this side than the other side, but the problem is you got a bearing right here, so I don't have a good surface to come off of. Your bearing is not, I can't grab a hold of enough to, it's a radius surface, so it's not a good indicator where we're really at. So it looks like we're a good heavy finger on this side. This side over here, see, we're a little less than a heavy finger, so we're pretty close. But roughly, considering how bad it was, we're not too far off. So now we got to just figure out how we're going to make this thing work. I don't have the tool I need for doing this correctly. So we use an incorrect tool. See, that's an incorrect tool. So it doesn't matter where you look, you just got to figure out what part you're going to look at. You can look right up here, right in this area, you can look down here in this area, whatever you want to look at.
You just need a reference point, yeah.
You need a reference point. Doesn't have to be too close, just reference point. When I did this bike over here, my reference point was this. And I just held something right here and spun the wheel until it looked close like that. And it's close enough to call it done. Just a little more accurate, but. So right now, it looks like it's the worst spots right here. So from there to about there, and let's see, I'm about in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So you get about three groups this way, 3 groups this way. These are fans right here. So this is a group of fans. So if you hold this fan, you look at the one next to it. So we want to concentrate adjustment on this big fan here, and you got one each way. So we're going to adjust these 3 fans. So we want to go this way. We're assuming they're still loose and tight in here because we haven't gone through and fixed that problem yet.
Mm.
So I'm just going to tighten. Now you want to put 2 here and 1 on each one of these to be pulled equally because it's wheels at an arc and a bend. Those are pretty tight. That's not. That's pretty tight. So this one here is loose. So give that a little extra. And give this one more because I'm going to put 2 on these. And see how
we're touching, yeah.
See how we went too far?
Mm-hmm.
Because we had that one loose one. But see, we're tight right here where I want 2. So back these off 1. And see, it don't hit anymore.
Not anymore.
We're still real close.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this one up over here. Let me see if that's tight. It was tight. But see, that took it right off the wheel. Got a gap in there now. So if you get over on that, you can kind of see the gap in there a little bit. Pick the area you like to look at. Okay, so now we just kind of eyeball it. So now you spin a higher speed, you can see better where you're at. So what's the next worst area? That's close. Right there.
Right there, yeah.
An impact mark right there. So this is right on the money here. It's almost touching. So skip ahead a little bit. That was loose. Okay. You got a little hit mark?
Yeah.
Close right in here. So we're going to tighten the other side up just a little bit.
So you just pulled it that way, right?
Yeah, this one's real close right here. So these 2 here, this is the center of the 2 marks right between. So this is one of them. Look how loose that is.
Mm-hmm.
So if I give that a couple right like that, now we move the whole wheel over a lot because that one was dead loose. So I could come back and tighten these up 1. Get it back in the center again. So at this point we're pretty close, but we have a lot of tight and a lot of loose in here. They all need to be tight, otherwise it'll get loose, it'll come apart again. So now at this point we go ahead and pick a starting point. See how it's going to mark right here where to
Yeah,
start?
you start from the valve stem.
Yeah. So we want to tighten everything up 1 flat. Some of these are pretty tight, some aren't. See, that one's not very tight, so I'll give it 2.
That one's pretty tight.
And that one's okay, a little tight. That one's pretty tight. This is the area where we're already working, probably. Let's see how much torque I'm putting on it. That's the factory torque.
About that much.
Well, you see how it gets from my finger starts shaking, that's when I'm really pushing hard. See, like that, that's hard. See, I get shaky when I get a little tension on it.
Yeah, I bet.
That's my torque wrench. And after a while, my thumb gets tired.
So the torque changes?
No, my thumb just gets tired. See, that one doesn't want to move. See, some move more than other because they're tighter.
That one's good. Well, that one's might be too tight, huh?
Or it's rusty.
Yeah.
See, if that's thud, but it's like that, that means that's rusty. But in this case, it's tight. Can't get on the nipple. See, that one's loose. This one's really tight. This one's loose. There's our stem. There's our stem right there. Okay, let's see what happened. We did that. See, it didn't really affect it too much, which is good. Okay, now we're going to do it again. You just keep doing that over and over and over until
everything's tight.
Until they get tight. See, that one's loose. Give it 2. That one's tight. Sort of loose. Pretty loose. If you go too much, the nipple splits on you. And that's too much torque.
That's what you don't want to happen?
Well, it happens because I tend to over-torque my stuff. So
Oh, okay.
I'll either have 1 or 2 that'll do that because you got to find a limitation for the quality of material you're working with. These are pretty good nipples because they're not splitting. Definitely got a lot of torque on them. Like that one. I start going this way, I'll get more torque. So. Still loose, tight, loose, loose. See, my thumb's starting to get tired, see?
Yeah.
Had to put my hand to it.
Yeah.
Just our 3rd time around in case you didn't notice.
Yeah. No. Really going. They're really loose. Well, they're getting tight now. That one's.
Our valve's way over there. Okay.
Should be pretty close.
Well, that's why it's getting so hard to turn. Stupid transmission's in the way over there. If you hear the squeaking tires, I don't know what I was rubbing on.
Yeah.
Junk on the bench behind me. See, I was tightening it so much I should shoved everything that way. Okay. Alright, let's see what we got now. Whoa!
Oh, it's hitting.
It made a difference that time. Looks like I got some up and down came in too. A little bit. Okay, see now we finally got some movement. But here they're all tight. See, they're all tight. No more loose ones, see? Okay. So, we're hitting, you hear it hitting? So So this needs to go that way. So how much hitting we doing? We're hitting from here. Mainly these two. So loosen one.
Tighten one. That's tight.
Didn't want to tighten anymore. Just we start breaking stuff because I'm forcing it to move. Okay, next square series right here. So you got a big gap on this one. See the gap in there? Between here and over here. See the gap? Look at it from my
Kind of hard for the camera to see it, but
look at this view where my face is. Well, you can blow it up by looking at it. See the big gap come and go?
mm-hmm.
Okay, so we need to go this way. So we do the same thing again. See where the bad area is. So right here we don't need to do anything. Then all of a sudden it's real bad real quick. Then it kind of tapers in all the way over to here. So that means this area here is where most of the work needs to be. But definitely right here is where it makes a big turn. So from this group here, and maybe a couple over here. So these need to be, we need to go this way. So these need to be tightened. These need to be loosened. Now these were real loose over here, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Tighten these up real bad. So, see right there, see how it's hitting right there? Close. We'll nudge down that one. Back that off a little bit. Nudge. Oop, wrong direction. See right here, that's where it starts. So, back that one way the hell off. That was just really, really tight. That made a big difference just on doing that one. See, if you find a really, really tight one, that's what's doing most of the work. See much closer it is now? See, you only did about 6 or 7 different spokes we played with, but
Mm-hmm.
so it comes in quick. There's a lot of tension on it, so you're fighting it. Okay, next worst area is right here. So this is our worst one. Tighten. That doesn't seem to be that tight. That one's pretty tight though. Those aren't very tight. That one's a little tight. So this one needs to be tight, and it's already pretty tight. And you can keep pushing, you break it. But that's the one we need to move, so oh well. So there's a big bend right in this area. That one's pretty tight. See, that's going to make a big difference real quick. Yep, that changed it right there. So you find the one that's high binding on you, that's the one you work with. Get real close to here. So these need to be tight on the other side. They're pretty tight already, but loosen one just a little bit. Ooh, that's tight. That wasn't that tight right there. It was relatively loose. See how it move? This one is loose. Oh, wrong direction. Right here's our problem area. Where his valve stem is. It's common wherever they punch a hole, you got issues. Because it bends the rim. We're trying to compensate for a manufacturing defect in a rim by trilling. Okay, looks pretty close there. So look how close it is now. We have up and down. So look at it from this angle right here. See up and down. Come up higher. Look at this angle like this. See the gap right here? See how it goes up and down?
Yeah. Yeah, you can see it.